welcome back to my channel, Home Sweet Classroom. My name is Maritza. If you are new, I am a second grade teacher and I am currently teaching overseas serving military children. Welcome and thank you so much for stopping by and being with me here in my teaching journey. So today's video is going to be about some of my favorite things in the month of October, and those are especially Halloween and Spanish Heritage Month. Let's dive right in. Let me share with you some ideas that you might incorporate into your classroom or some things that you can incorporate even at home with your kids. So let me show you some of those things. I am currently sitting in my classroom library. It's after school. There's some noises in the background because I do have kids, my own kids that are in my classroom. So there might be here and now some noises, and my husband is there helping me out as well. So let me tell you a little bit about my classroom. And if you don't know already, I absolutely love classroom themes. I love incorporating culture in the classroom. I love incorporating seasons and holidays and whatnot. And I know it varies by school on what you can and cannot celebrate. I haven't been given any direction as to that I cannot. I do respect children's beliefs and cultures, so it is something that I do acknowledge in the classroom. This year, I have absolutely no problem with incorporating Halloween into my classroom, and I think my parents do like that I'm also incorporating the Spanish Heritage Month celebrations from starting October all through, or September 15th, sorry, all through October 15th. So it's about a month of celebrations and culture involvement in the classroom. I introduce my students with the Spanish Heritage Month, and then it kind of evolves into their own culture and heritage background. So I make it into a whole thing in the classroom, and each day I just sprinkle a little bit of Spanish heritage into the classroom by incorporating music, incorporating books, incorporating activities and food later on, and just celebrations every day just a little bit. So it kind of develops into this fun activities, and they're learning a little bit with such a rigorous curriculum and so much to do in the classroom. It doesn't allow me to have like a full day worth of celebrations or learning of it, so I try to incorporate it in different ways. Now, then you've got October now, and it's Halloween. So how I know students are super excited about Halloween and they just absolutely love it. So I decided to incorporate that as well into the classroom. It's more of a incorporation into the library. So I'm going to show you guys around into my library right here. I'm sitting on the floor, so I'm going to show you guys around in my library how I incorporate it and how it just makes a true difference in the student involvement in reading and just wanting to learn more. Alright, so the first thing I have is these boo books. My students absolutely love the boo books. I got this container, I believe it was purchased like at Walmart, and then I've decorated with this spider web piece, and of course this is all things you can find probably in the Halloween section, and these are called my boo books. This is just my sign. It's kind of beat up because I've used it for the past 3 years, and I have some little decorations here as well, and inside is the best part. So inside I have books on Halloween. So these are all books from the library, and my students are able to get these books and read them during their independent reading, during our cool down, and they all know that this is they all know that this is part of our classroom library, and it's just some fun books for them to choose from. And I try to change them out. I incorporate some fall themed books as well. Anything to do with October. Actually, this one belongs to my classroom library over here, which brings me to the point of our books on Spanish Heritage Month. So I have here some books. One is called Dear Primo, and this one's called Yum Yum Que Rico, Dia de los Muertos. All of these books are part of the bilingual collection, and what I do here with these bilingual books and focus in the culture of the Spanish heritage
I incorporate activities such as, for example, using Dia de los Muertos. I read the book to my students, we watched a short video, and then we had a calavera coloring sheet to making these calaveras decorations to incorporate a little bit of music and art into the culture of the Spanish Heritage Month. And then I also read Dear Primo, and I taught my students a couple Spanish words, and I liked it because it was a letter to my cousin. We were focusing on letters for the first 3 weeks of school, so it was a really great connection my students made, and comparison, as well as hitting other points in the classroom for our reading lessons, compare and contrast different places that these two children lived in. So this was a great incorporation into our reading and our writing. And then I have other books such as Don't Say a Word, Mama, No Digas Nada, and that's a bilingual book. A story of immigration and separation. And then I also have The Chupacabra Ate the Chupacabra. So all of these books were a really great incorporation into the Spanish Heritage Month. And this is all just within my library here. It's a small little area of what I have here. And then just a small piece of Halloween decoration. I also have decorated back there some orange lights. And it's just fun because when we turn off the lights to read, it brightens up the classroom, including my lamp over there. So it's really nice to be able to incorporate books that are going to be engaging and motivate my students to read based on the themes and things that are going on around us outside of the classroom.
Okay, I'm back at the carpet. So I wanted to share a couple more things. I have this book called Tito Puente. This was a really fun book, and incorporating music into the classroom. What I went ahead and did is I showed my students a short video about Tito Puente, and it was like a 2-minute video, I believe it was. And I introduced my students to something new because a lot of my students don't recognize Spanish Heritage Month. So I introduced Tito Puente with a short video. And then after the video, I read the book to them. And we were mainly focusing on Tito Puente's accomplishments and why he was so important that they had to write a book about him. And then after we read the book, we watched a live video of Tito Puente performing live, and it was absolutely so much fun. My students asked, can we get up and dance? And I said, yes, of course. So they all got up and danced, and I danced with a couple of students, showing them and helping them understand the importance of his music and how he changed other people's mindsets, and just the appreciation of the music and involvement that Tito Puente had on people. So it was really fun to see my students get out of their comfort zone and just have fun with music and really enjoy literature as well. A lot of my students picked this book up during their self-selected reading time, and that is exactly what I want my students to do. So having books displayed the way I just showed you is a really great way to get your students more involved into literature. They always want to read what you're reading. So what a great example to set for your students when you set the books out for them after you have already read it to them. So some other things that I wanted to show you, of course, I talked about Dia de los Muertos and how you can do so much with this book. 2 years ago, I did this with my students, and we actually did a little bit more activities with it just because it was so much fun. We made the decoration pieces for it, and they're called the papel picado, and they look like this. And it was just so much fun. I hung them around the classroom, and then my students made the calaveras, and then we had some candy. So a lot of the things we did that they introduced in the book, we also did them in the classroom, and it was just so much fun to see my students be so involved and into something new that they've never done before. Some other things that you could do with Spanish Heritage Month is that you could on October 15th, which is the last day that it's celebrated, we will be breaking a piñata. One of the parents decided that she offered to help with making that, so she will be making a piñata. We'll have some food, and then on top of that, besides doing that, I also have parents research their background on their heritage culture. So that's a discussion in itself that we will have in the classroom, and we'll make a presentation for it. Students will be able to present it and share with the class some of their findings on their heritage background. So all of these things you can do, and it's not just during the month of September and October. It's definitely things that you can incorporate into the classroom with just connecting things that go on outside of your classroom and bring them into the classroom. So that has to do with Spanish Heritage Month. Now I'm jumping back into the month of October, which students recognize as Halloween. They recognize a lot of students recognize it as fall. Now I currently live on an island in the Caribbean, so we don't get the seasons, but we do still talk about the seasons. We still talk about spring and fall and winter. Even though we don't see the changes outside, we do still help students recognize that, because we do have some students who've lived here all their life and they definitely have not seen any of the seasons, or ever seen snow, or ever seen fall leaves or leaves changing in the fall. So it's really interesting to be able to give students that opportunity through literature, through videos and technology, and activities as well. So another thing that I wanted to share with you in October, something to do with your students, is through books of pumpkins. And we do get pumpkins. So about 2 years ago when I taught first grade, I had pumpkins in the classroom and we carved them. We took out all of the seeds from the inside. We counted the seeds, and we used books. I used literature to also make those connections, to help my students make those connections. So I incorporated math and reading and hands-on activities. So I wanted to share with you some of the books that you can find. The Pumpkin book by Gail Gibbons, and you could even use the story of the garden, or Pumpkin Circle, the story of a garden. And these books are really great to have in the classroom. It really helps students get the understanding of pumpkins and the season, and then it goes into some science. So really great way to show students and relate them to science and math and reading. So, and of course, having the ability to just like have that in the classroom, having pumpkins in the classroom, maybe the different sizes, those are also awesome ways to incorporate it into your classroom. Making fall known. I just love the month of fall, pumpkin spice, which brings me to picking apples and pumpkins. There are so many great activities online, on Pinterest, of course, you can find using this exact book. I have a couple of these, and I put them in my buddy reading station, and I let my students buddy read and make connections, because we are talking about fall and we are talking about nonfiction books. So it's just a really great way to incorporate this kind of text into your stations, and also making it a theme and all united. And I try to make a theme all throughout, like in math and in writing about fall, writing about pumpkins, writing about Halloween prompts. There are so many ways that you can incorporate in your classroom and just kind of have it all throughout your classroom, where your students are they see what's outside of the classroom and they get really excited about Halloween and fall and pumpkins. But bring it into the classroom as well is so much fun, and students really appreciate it and just get so excited and ecstatic about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some ideas maybe that you want to incorporate into your classroom. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel down below if you aren't subscribed already, and you can go visit me on Instagram as well. It is Lara's Home Sweet Classroom if you aren't already on my Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!